Okay, welcome back finally for part number 3. I want to apologize for it taking so long to get this installment out. A few different things came up that led to that delay. One, you might be able to guess if you saw the video I uploaded from the hospital. But don't worry, everybody is fine now. No reason to worry. Second reason, when I uploaded part 2, I left the obnoxious YouTube video stabilization enabled. It's on by default for some crazy reason because I've never ever seen it give good results. You get that weird, psychedelic shifting objects thing going on, and it was really terrible. It took me a while to figure out how to get that fixed without re-uploading, or rather re-editing the video rather. So I finally got that re-uploaded and replaced. And the third reason is it's been so long I forgot where I left my lav mic. So now that all those things are taken care of, in the meantime, my replacement thermostat has arrived. If you recall last time, there were 3 lines on my display. There was a white line, another white line, and a red line down the side. The top white line actually disappeared partway through that second video. And then sometime since the last video was uploaded, I'm not exactly sure when, the red line down the side has gone away. But we still have this white line here, which it looks like it might be intentional because it looks like it's sort of dividing these icons here, but it isn't, because if you click on this, see the line goes right through that text. So I sent photos to Ecobee and they confirmed that this is a faulty display and advised me to return it as defective. Since I bought it through Amazon, that was not a big deal. They cross-shipped me a new one, so I didn't have to wait for, I didn't have to pack this one up and send it back, and then wait to install the new one, which could be really bad if you only have one thermostat in your house in the winter or in the summer and you have no heat. And in the meantime, that would really suck. Plus, then you have to deal with the, you'd have to return the back plate. Rather, I can just keep this one installed and switch it out. So it's nice that they do that. So before I return this, I want to wipe it out. Get my Wi-Fi settings and all that out for now. Oops, that's not the menu I want. Guess I want this. Settings, reset all. Yes. Okay, so now on to replace this one. So here's the defective unit. Here's the new one I received from Amazon, and actually here's the old thermostat. I'm going to do a video on how these work at some point. We'll get that out of the way for now. So what I want to do is, I'm not going to reinstall the wall plate, and I've already used the stickers and stuff, so I don't want to deal with reinstalling all that stuff and shifting it out. So all I'm going to do is swap the thermostats out between the boxes and then send this one back. However, I did notice that there is there's a serial number here, so I don't want to confuse them with that. So what I'm going to do is actually swap out the thermostat and the box bottom with the old one, and then they'll get all their parts together in like new condition, except for they'll have the faulty thermostat, and it won't confuse them. It'll be easier for me and easier for them. So I'm going to take out everything in here and transport it into the, this is the old box bottom. Yep. All right. Put that in here. Take out the new thermostat. Put in the old one. And there we go. Now they have no missing parts. They're getting everything back they're supposed to. And I have, oh, actually, no, they won't, because I got the base here. So let me put that back in, actually. Oh, come on, box. All right. Okay. All right, so now they have a complete return, everything like new. And I can go ahead and reinstall this one. All right, here's the new thermostat booting up. Don't see any lines so far, that's a good sign. Okay, new thermostat is set up now. No lines, that's good. Unfortunately, the act of removing the thermostat and adding the new one caused my Ecobee account to be deleted. I had to start from scratch with the scheduling and all that. It's a little bit annoying, entering all the information about the house and everything. Also, I forgot that I would need to repair the temperature sensor for the other bedroom. I went into the menus for sensors, and I didn't see any options about that. But looking online, it seems like what you need to do is remove the battery for 5 minutes, and that's supposed to kind of reset things. So let's put the battery back in. Yep, come on now. And see if that causes it to... aha, good. It has seen it. Call that kids room. Oh, also you notice I did leave the smart home away set up. This uses there's an occupancy sensor built into the temperature sensors as well as into the units. So it's supposed to know if you're home or away. I'm not sure how that's going to work because I have pets. Yeah, and they're kind of active, so that might mess things up. We'll see. All right, I went ahead and installed the second Ecobee. This is the second one on the upstairs, controlling the living room, kitchen, dining room sort of area. Went pretty smoothly, same as the first one, except for the fact that the wires in this one were, unlike the other one, which were quite long wires, there was a lot of slack. This one was very short, so I had to be really careful not to break them off because there wasn't much left. And although the stripped portion was pretty long on the red and white, I did not trim them down because it was just, taking a 1/4 inch was a significant amount of what was left. But other than that, it went pretty smoothly. The setup online was pretty smooth. There's a problem I noticed with both the first and the second one here, that it seems to get confused about the address. It seems like a bug in the website. So when it'll complain that it can't get the weather. On the first one, I read online that it doesn't like abbreviations maybe, so I changed RD to road in the address, and that seemed to fix it. And this one, it already said road, but it still couldn't find the weather, so I edited it from road to, I just kind of deleted the D and put the D back in and saved it, and that seemed to make it happy. So it may not actually be the abbreviation, it may just need to be like resaved somehow to correctly get things configured. But with that working, it's now got the weather correct, or as correct as weather forecasts ever are, because it's not actually raining right now. But I suppose it is somewhere in the area. So that's pretty smooth. The other thing you need to do is, unless you want them to be completely separate, you can add them to a group on the website, which is what I did. And you can pick which things to share. So I'm sharing everything except the schedule. Although I do want the same schedule between this unit and the one in the bedrooms down that way. Completely the same. The third one is going to be downstairs. I want to keep that one cooler for now. And there's no way to sort of share everything except the temperature settings for 2 of them, but not for the third one. That's kind of an all or nothing for members, whether you're sharing a particular thing between members of a group. So I'm going to separately maintain the schedule for this one and the first one. And although they'll be identical, I have to manually make them identical. And then the downstairs I'm going to keep much cooler because we're not down there very much right now. And so there's no real need for that. All right, on to number 3. And here's number 3 downstairs. This again went very smoothly. There wasn't any, this is an unfinished basement at the moment, or kind of semi-finished. So it's just screwed right to the stud right now where the old one was. There's no need to worry about covering up a mark or anything. When we finish this, we'll have to remove this temporarily and reattach it and everything. But for now, it's fine. As you can see, this one had plenty of extra cord. I'm not sure why they were so stingy in the second one. The first one and this one, they left a very generous amount, which is much appreciated. I don't know why they were so stingy on that second one. maybe it got cut off when they were installing the drywall or damaged or something, and there wasn't much left. But anyway, so another thing I wanted to mention, when you're setting these up, although I'm not really planning to use the Apple HomeKit support, I did like that it has the feature. And one benefit for me, even though I'm not really using it, is it makes the setup so simple as far as the Wi-Fi. You just go into the Wi-Fi settings on your iPhone. It'll show up along with the wireless networks it sees. The device will show up there. The Ecobee will show up there. You tap on it and you click setup or something like that. It's like a 1 or 2 click operation, and it transfers all your wireless settings to here. So you don't have to type in your access point name or your password or anything. It's just automatic with a couple clicks. So that saves you a little bit of time and effort, especially if you have a good quality Wi-Fi password with a mix of things that's kind of a pain to type in on a little keyboard like this, or to have to do it through your phone or whatever. So that's a nice feature. One more thing I wanted to mention, I did set up the temperature sensor with the second thermostat upstairs. I put that in the living room. For this one downstairs, I'm not going to set up the temperature sensor yet because it's, as I said, it's kind of unfinished down here. There's no good place to put it. It's just going to get lost, and it's really not occupied down here very much anyway at the moment. When it's time, there is a bedroom down that way. It'll go in there, but for now I'm not going to bother about it. And I may actually end up getting another 1 or 2 for this area down here. Perhaps one to go in the workshop room and downstairs here, and where I've been filming some of my benchtop videos temporarily, like the mechanical room with the furnaces, and another one out here in this kind of common area where this is, but kind of on the other side of the room perhaps. Well, now's the time with all the thermostats installed and working. I wanted to talk a little bit about the home automation capabilities of the Ecobee. A lot of things that are really great, some things that are kind of disappointing. So kind of 2 things on the plus side and 2 things on the minus side. So on the plus side, the mobile application is great, at least on iOS. It basically replicates exactly the look and feel of the interface on the thermostat. So anything you can do in the thermostat, you can do through the web app or the mobile app, as far as I can tell. Looks the same. It's great. And the Ecobee does have very rich functionality. It's got a very advanced scheduling system. So some of the cheaper programmable thermostats, you might have like a 5-day, 2-day kind of a thing. So you can a weekday schedule and a weekend schedule, but you can't divide up more than that if you work a different shift or something. And they just have like a morning and night time transition setting. The Ecobee, you can kind of create more temperature profiles, and then more sort of events during the day. So you could have like an overnight, morning, leave for work, come back. But you could create more things as well, and they could be different. Every day can be different. So you have a lot of functionality there, and then there's a lot of really rich set of overrides that are available when that schedule isn't enough. So there's the basic permanent override. You can say set the temperature to this exactly for until I say otherwise, this is the temperature. But you can also do timed based ones. So set it to this for 2 hours, then go back to your program. You can do sort of a non-time based temporary one, like set it to this temperature, but then when the schedule would set it to a different temperature, go back to that automatically. Anytime you can manually resume and go back to the program. There's the vacation modes. So that's all really nice. And as I said, all of this is available through the thermostats themselves, the mobile application, and their website. They all work very similarly, look very similar, and it's pretty nice. The next thing I want to talk about is their web API, REST API. So for background, in my day job, I am a software engineer, and a huge amount of what I do revolves around REST APIs. So I have definite opinions about how they should be done. I design them, I implement the server side, the client side, consume other people's REST APIs. It's a huge part of what I do, so I have a lot of experience and strong feelings about that. And I have to give a big thumbs up to the Ecobee API. First, that they make it available at all, because a lot of home automation stuff, they don't expose it all to you. So I really appreciate the openness of it. It also just seems really well designed. Now, I haven't tried to implement anything against it. I haven't, actually consumed their API, but spending some time looking through the documentation, it seems really well thought out. It follows the standards that you would hope it would, has all the flexibility you would hope it would, seems to expose every feature you could want. Everything that the thermostat can do, you can do through the API, which, you would expect, because I'm assuming that the mobile app and website use that API to implement their functionality. So you'd expect it's all there, but it's nice that they expose it all to the customer too. So that's really nice. Very happy with that. And there's something I learned through reading the API docs that I didn't know. I was talking about all those different override and hold modes. Well, there's one in there for utility companies. So in warmer climates especially, maybe not so much in cold climates, but possibly. But in warmer climates for sure. For example, I lived in Florida for many years until I returned back here. Florida Power and Light has a program, I think it's called On Call. And what that is in exchange for a reduction on your electric bill every month, they install this device in your air conditioner, and because air conditioners are huge consumers of electricity. And when they're having trouble meeting demand, like it's a really hot day and everybody's air conditioners are on full blast all the time, this lets them kind of shut the air conditioners down in waves. So they guarantee they won't do it more than a certain number of minutes per day, a certain number of times or whatever. But they can kind of do a rolling, rather than having actual rolling blackouts of whole houses, like it sometimes happens here in California. They can just kind of do rolling blackouts of just air conditioners for a few minutes at a time, enough to let them get by, so that it's not impacting other important uses of electricity, like street lights and safety critical things, but lets them kind of manage things a little bit better. But those override devices are a little bit clunky and so on. Ecobee has basically built that kind of functionality into the thermostat. So, presumably with your permission, and you would get something in exchange for this. You could sign up with your utility company if they supported it. And there's a very limited API, a subset of the API that the utility company can access, so they can monitor your energy consumption, whether your power is on or off, and they can do limited overrides to shut off your electric use on just heating and cooling only for short periods of time. That's not something that would apply to me here, because I'm just using heat only, and it's oil based. So the furnace consumes a little bit of electricity for just running the control system and for running the the spark to ignite the oil and whatever. But it's really not consequential. But there are heat pump based heating systems, and some people have electric heat, so it may be offered up here. I don't know, but it is kind of interesting that they built that in, and really nice to just have the integrated functionality. They seem to have thought about it a lot. So on the negative side, first of all, two of the reasons I got it were picked the Ecobee where they supported IFTTT or IFT, and also Alexa, both of which I'm interested in. Here's the some of the actions you can trigger with IFT for your thermostats. So you can see they have a pretty good set of these override kinds of things. The time-based hold, the sort of override until the next scheduled thing, either based, I guess, on temperature or on a particular comfort profile, which is what they call a predefined temperature setting and so on. Indefinite hold, and you can resume your program. You can also create vacation things. So this is really nice. It seems fairly rich, but there's some disappointing things in here. One is that there's no just turn off the heat or turn off the thermostat kind of a feature. I said in, I think, the second video that I was hoping to do something like have my Nest Protects, if it detected carbon monoxide or smoke, for example, it could shut off the heat, since that's a likely source of those things if something went wrong, or the most likely source of those things, at least carbon monoxide. So like an automatic safety override kind of feature. Well, unfortunately, there is no turn it off. I thought, well, okay, that's not a problem. I'll just set the indefinite hold, and I can set the temperature, not off, but I could set it low, 40 degrees, 45 degrees, something like that. And that would be fine anyway, because if it triggered wrongly for some reason, it's going to take a while for the house to get down to, and the house is not on fire, it's going to take the house a while to get down to 45 degrees. But it also, if it's false and it doesn't get addressed right away, then at least the heat will come back on eventually when the temperature gets that low, the pipes won't freeze and so on. So, okay, I can live with that. Problem number one is here is the what they give you for setting a hold. First of all, you can only do one thermostat at a time. That's kind of disappointing. But here's the temperature range you can set. Now, in the setup for the Ecobee, you can choose a temperature range that you want to allow. So I think the default is 45 to 79. So from the thermostat, you cannot set it to 44 or below, or 70 or 80 or above. You just cannot set that on the thermostat, which makes sense, because you don't want to. If it's a hot climate, you don't want people setting it to too low of a temperature and wasting a lot of energy, or vice versa in a hot climate. So you can set what that range is. But the action on IFTTT, it doesn't respect that range. It only gives you 65 to 79. Well, my highest temperature in my program is 64, so I can't shut off anything. I can only raise the temperature, which is useless, and it seems so stupid to me, because it's not like it's any more effort in coding to allow a wider range here. Why? Let me set it to a lower temperature. Or either have a fixed range here, but have it be much wider range, or respect the range that's set in the same range that lets you control what you can do from the thermostat control unit. So that's so disappointing. The other thing that's disappointing is a combination of the faults of the Nest implementation for IFT itself, and the Ecobee triggers. So in my situation, what I kind of was hoping I would do is, if any of the thermostat, or any of the fire alarms rather, have a smoke emergency level, or a carbon monoxide emergency or warning level, then shut off the heat. Okay, the problem is that there's this combinatorial explosion of IFT rules you have to create to do that, because on the Nest side, you can't just say, if any of my any of my alarms have this alarm. You have to do each one individually. So that's 4 Nest Protects in the house. So I need 4 rules times I want 3 different things: smoke emergency, carbon monoxide emergency, carbon monoxide warning. So 4 times 2, that's 12 different rules I need to have. And then the thermostats, I have to control the 3 of them individually. So now I'm at 36 different rules to do all those combinations. It's so annoying. So I say it's the fault of Nest, because they should have they should have an option, in addition to letting you pick a particular alarm, they should let you say just if any of them do this. On Ecobee's side, they should have a similar option here. Do this to all of them, not a particular one. And if should really have, ideally, it should be not just if this then that, but if this then that, and that and that and that. They should let you have multiple actions for one trigger. It's just good programming to have things that are sharing the same condition. To minimize code duplication. You don't want to have the same test repeated over and over again. You don't want to have 36 rules where you can have 1. So I'm disappointed that they don't. As I said, all 3 of these things kind of disappoint me, and together it's really disappointing. So, but with this limited temperature range, I can't do what I want to do anyway. So basically, the IFT support is kind of useless to me right now. The Alexa support is also disappointing. Now, you would hope that you could do these kinds of things through Alexa, all these different sorts of options, but you can't. The only one you can do is an indefinite hold. You can say set the temperature to, or Alexa, set bedroom to 58 degrees or something, and it will do that. But it's an indefinite hold. You can't change it other than to put a different indefinite hold on. You can't have it automatically come back at the next transition or after a certain time. You would like to just be able to say those things. Set temperature this to however many degrees for 2 hours, or something like that. But even worse than that, you can't even say resume program. So once you've changed this with Alexa, you're stuck manually changing it until you were able to do it through the phone or through the actual thermostat unit or whatever, or the website. And yeah, I mean, if you're changing it, you're probably at home anyway, and it's not a big deal to walk over. But I mean, the whole point of Alexa is to like make these things nice, so you can not have to walk over and push buttons. You can just say things and have it do it. So it's really frustrating that it doesn't at least have resume program as an option. And again, it doesn't, as far as I know, it doesn't let you control groups of them together. You have to say individually the thermostat names. So that's disappointing. Now, it does let you say like raise temperature 2 degrees or lower temperature 2 degrees or whatever. I think, in fact, I think if you just say raise temperature or lower temperature, it goes by 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Probably if you're in Celsius mode, it does 1 degree at a time. So you can do some relative temperature setting. That's kind of nice, but yeah, it really should support more of these. I'm not saying it needs to support vacation mode and some of these things, but at a minimum, it needs to support resume program. And ideally, it would also set time-based or wait until next transition-based rules. And from what I know of the Alexa, the way you interface with Alexa, you write skills is what they call them, that shouldn't be that hard. So I'm really disappointed that they haven't done that. So on those two fronts, it is kind of disappointing. But on the other two things, it's great. Oh, and also, I mentioned earlier, I'm not really planning to do anything with HomeKit. So I haven't looked into that much. How maybe it has better flexibility for these kinds of things, but it is nice. The little bit I've used of it as far as the setup, automating the Wi-Fi setup, that is nice. Anyway, so thank you for watching this series. I'm going to do another one, not quite part of the series, but I'm going to take a look at these classic electromechanical simple mercury switch thermostats and how they work. So if you're interested, watch that. And otherwise, until next time, thank you. Yes, you're the good one. You don't mess up my videos. Yeah, you're a good one too.